Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the EKN OutLap here on the EKN Radio Network. It's episode number 15, January the 19th, 2001. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. And as always, the preview podcasts here are OutLaps looking at an upcoming EKN Trackside live event. We preview the race, talk about the teams and drivers that are coming, any maybe special stories that are happening. This particular event we're jumping into today, looking at this coming weekend's opening round of the 2021 Challenge of the Americas presented by Royce and Baxter. We'll talk more about that, but let's get in first and foremost and tell you who our presenting sponsor is today. It's the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 40 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. And again, as we jump into this edition of the EKN OutLap, part of our EKN Trackside live coverage for the entire weekend, the Challenge of the Americas, kind of our bookend podcast, the OutLap preview, the debrief race report, which we'll record next Tuesday. The event, of course, this coming weekend, January 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We're heading to the Phoenix Kart Racing Association, the Formula K Raceway in Glendale, Arizona. Rounds number 1 and 2 of the 6-round championship. David, 14th season. Began back as the Rotax program, Gators Cup back in 2008, but the 14th season and a lot of evolution as well for the program run by Andy Saisman.
Yeah, we were there for the announcement of the program in Centennial, Colorado. I bet you remember that, don't you?
I remember being there. I don't remember the announcement, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they had a welcome dinner. It was in a hangar at the airport, which is
I do remember that.
The racetrack.
Yeah.
Joe Ramos was there. Yeah, obviously, all the dignitaries for Rotax was there, and Andy made the big announcement. You know, Alan Rudolph was working at Bondurant back then. I think they were there as well too, representing Bondurant. So, yeah, it's been a long tenure for this program going into a 14th season. Obviously, it's changed over the 14 seasons. Obviously, with Rotax for many of those years, and now under the Rock Cup USA banner.
Yeah, indeed. And now heading to a track that's been around a long time as well. One of kind of the foundation programs, tracks rather, in the Southwest. Formula K Raceway, formerly known as Formula K Raceway. What is the official name now? Is it just
they don't
PKRA?
Have one. They don't have one. I double checked the website. The club doesn't have an official name, so we can still call it the Formula K Raceway because it technically hasn't been renamed. So. Yeah. We'll call it what we call it, PKRA. I mean, that's just a simple, easy term.
We do need to dig in deeper because you have down here that opened in the late 1990s, and I know that I was heading out to Formula K Raceway when I think it was 1996 or 1997. It might have been 97 when I started working with National Kart News, and I was going to go out to the WK Constructors Championship race. Wasn't able to actually get there, but that was Formula K Raceway back then. So opened, as you said, in the late 90s.
Well, it's why we need to write books and get all this information down, because websites change all the time and people are like, oh, we don't need this information on there. Well, it'd be nice to have it on there.
Dave, interesting that, and you have this on our notes here, that among the few facilities still owned solely by the organization.
Well, yeah, that's one of the foundations of our sport. Was all these tracks were built around clubs or organizations, and they maintained the facilities, ran the facilities. Now, more and more, we're starting to see, different companies take over racetracks. There's still very few member-owned facilities that are still in the United States. Probably the United States is probably one of the only places where they do have that. I would assume. I don't know. I don't know how it is in other countries. That's something that we could obviously look into, but it's becoming less and less each year, because we're seeing, obviously, organizations are mostly member run and they're nonprofit, so nobody's getting paid, and so it's all volunteer work, and that's one thing that the PKRA does is put in a lot of time to their facility, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money into their facility, because it's not one that sits there for 4 or 5 months in the winter like we have up here.
Yeah, right.
They're on track 12 months out of the year, so they're literally open aside for holidays and stuff like that. So it's open nonstop, and I mean, you see it all the time during the winter. There's teams that go down there just to get some seat time in, and so it's a busy facility. It's in a heavily populated city, so it has a unique characteristic to it.
Yeah, no doubt. We love coming to the PKRA, and I've been going there for many years. I think the SCUSA Pro Moto Tour, the first time I went there was 1999, I believe. That's where it kicked off. 11th time for the Challenge of the Americas to visit the PKR facility. We're going to run that 3/4 mile track in the full track, the clockwise direction, coming down through the kink, down to the hairpin Daytona, the right-hand hairpin there, the banked corner. Looking forward to that. 14 turns in total, David. We get things rolling officially on Friday, but as we're recording this on Tuesday morning, open practice, unofficial practice run by the track tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. 5 rounds of practice on Friday, and as Andy Saisman has done for many years, 5 sessions, the first 3, 8 minutes long, then a 12-minute session. Then they run that longer 17-minute hot pit session at the end of the day, which we use to cover a segment of that for our happy hour as we start our EKN Trackside live coverage. But that hot pit session, people really enjoy getting that extra time on the track.
Yeah, it's more of a race simulation, really, and to understand what the kart's going to do in a longer session. Obviously, you want to know what it does for those short runs for qualifying and more so the pre-final. But something that the Challenge of Americas really does is have those long races. When we talk about pre-finals being 14 laps here and finals are going to be 20 laps, that's well into the 17-minute range. So that gives teams and drivers an idea of what works, what's not working, and that last session of the day on Friday provides that. So it's not. So the one thing too is it's not always about being the quickest in that session too.
No, it's very true. Yeah, opportunity to come in and make some changes too on the fly, which you don't get to do with the 8-minute sessions. Round 1 and round 2, Saturday and Sunday, same lineup for the day. Warm up to start, qualifying, pre-final, and final. David gave you a little indication of the laps. It's 14 lap pre-finals for the primary categories, the junior and adult categories. 20 lap for finals. The cadets will run 11 laps as a pre-final in 16-lap main events. That's it for the start of the show, folks. We're just getting rolling. When we get back after this quick break, we'll go through the numbers. We'll give you an idea of the numbers that we have pulled in here for pre-entries. We'll look, of course, to last year, look at some of the potential trends in increases and decreases. That'll all come up after this quick break here on the EKN Radio Network. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Most recently, Leading Edge Motorsports and Greg Bell helped guide Danny Formel to victory at both the Rock to Rio and the SuperKarts USA Super Nationals 23. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer for IP karting, which includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports is already looking forward to the 2021 season, which begins with the Challenge of the Americas, the premier winter series on the West Coast under the Rock Cup USA banner. Leading Edge Motorsports is also eyeing the Florida Winter Tour and several other programs. Arrive and drive services to kart preparation and driver coaching are all available under the LEM tent throughout 2021. Greg Bell has been building racing engines for over 20 years, and he's excited with the continuing growth of his new Mega Power race motor building program. It doesn't matter what color your chassis is, choose Mega Power to get to the front. For more information, click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com and find them on Facebook. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Kinetic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Kinetic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Kinetic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Kinetic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Kinetic can tailor to engine builder-specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Kinetic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Kinetic gasket, sealing championships since 1989. Welcome back to the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast for this coming weekend's Challenge of the Americas opener in Phoenix, Arizona. Rob Howden alongside David Cole here on the EKN Radio Network. And David, as we always do in these OutLap podcasts, having a look at the numbers. We do the best we can. It's kind of hard sometimes because you and I lament the fact, as do series promoters, that a lot of people enter late, whether it's a couple days or right up to the pre-registration deadline, or some even wait to pay the extra money and enter trackside. Let's look at the numbers here. All total, we got 10 classes, I think, all total, right, within the splits. With Micro, Mini, Junior, Senior, and Master Rock, Shifter, Master Rock, and then the 300cc categories for Junior, Senior, and Masters. 107 entries last year, David. We kicked things off last year at Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, moving to Phoenix, and a pretty solid advancement of, I think, 20% increase on the numbers we got on pre-entry.
Yeah, it's what you want to see. We've always talked with the Challenge of the Americas and Andy Seisman that 10% growth is solid. Especially when they began with the Rock Cup USA program and the power plant there. So it's steadily growing, as we saw 107 last year in Tucson, and then Cal Speed was a record number with 138 on our books. Essentially 140 on Andy's books, but it moved up, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. And so now we're seeing that again, starting out the year in Phoenix. Originally, it was supposed to be Cal Speed. It was originally supposed to be Cal Speed. Then it got moved to Phoenix, or it was supposed to be Phoenix. Got originally moved to Cal Speed. Now it's back to Phoenix. So we might see that Cal Speed bump again when we talk about February. But to start off with these numbers, in the what will probably end up being in the 135 maybe range, I'm going to guess. That's where I'm going to figure that out. So we're going to be pretty close to what the Cal Speed total was last year.
And you look at some of the ups and downs, and it's one of the things, obviously, the thing a promoter will look at first and foremost. So how are my cadet numbers, right? Because that's kind of where you start building a program. The young kids come in the micro and mini categories. Then they stay with you for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You never know how many years they're going to keep running. So to have good numbers there bodes well for the future. Micro Rock was just 3 drivers last year. They doubled that to 6 for this particular weekend. And again, that's pre-entry numbers. Big jump, though, David, in the Mini Rock category. Just 4 Mini Rocks last year, 17 in total, 13 more drivers in Mini Rock. And I think that's a big thing for the challenge to get that many mini drivers coming over. That's going to feed those junior classes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, for many of those they're new to the series, so that's key. You also have the graduating class from micro division, so that helps boost the numbers there. But to increase the micro number with all brand new drivers, that's very key because as you said, that helps build the future for the program.
So here's the one interesting side. We talk about a 20% growth, and really we're seeing some of this in different areas, especially on the West Coast. There's a drop in the actual rock categories, but an increase in the in the 100cc categories, that VLR 100 and KA 100 combined category that the challenge still runs. Driver 10 down in junior rock, but 10 up in 100cc junior. Similar to senior rock, down 4, up 14 in seniors. So 6 drivers in junior rock, 5 drivers in senior rock. Masters down just a couple to 12 in the Masters rock category. But David, you got to just look at the 100cc senior category from 15 up to 29. That's the biggest class this weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest class. And you look at, when you kind of look at percentages, the 100cc categories take up a big percentage of the entry numbers this weekend. And it's, we kind of talk about trends. This is kind of the trend that ever since, the 100cc new 100cc packages have been introduced, people are gravitating towards those categories because A, it's producing great racing, and B, because that's where the numbers are trending to. You getting, drivers moving up the ranks, or new drivers going right into the 100cc, where and avoiding the 125 side of things. So it just kind of seems to be the trend, especially out there on the West Coast. But where people are more focused on the 100cc. East Coast, I think it's kind of both. People want to do both, or have the opportunity to do both, where they focus on one category out west.
Shifters have been strong on the Challenge of the Americas program over the last couple of years. And of course, the Rock Shifter program, pretty strong all over the country. An increase up to 19 drivers in the senior shifter rock category for this weekend, 13 total in shifter masters rock. So the bottom line is, David, in the shifter kart category, if we're going to run them together, we're talking about putting 31 karts on the racetrack, which is always solid.
When we used to run them together, they run separate now, so we don't have to worry about that.
Does he practice? He practices them together, does he not?
No.
I thought we practiced
last year. Last 2 years they've been separated. I believe that when they first started, they ran them together.
Yeah,
the last at least the last 2 years they've been separated because the fields have been very stacked with talent and quick drivers. So they've been kind of the two main shows, especially with the way the numbers settled. They've been the two highlight of the weekend, watching these two categories. So. I would expect the shifter rock number to go up a little bit more with some walk-ups, because there's some drivers that we know are probably going to be there that are not registered. So we'll see if we can hit maybe 40 total shifters there.
What did you say total, David? What was the record number last year that we hit at Cal Speed?
I have 138, and that's based on how many competitors took to qualifying in Cal Speed. That's the 138 that I got. So again, we're at 128 pre-entered. We already know there's some additional entries coming into the weekend already. We know some walk-ups that are going to be coming in. So again, we have the possibility to set a record.
We could set a record for the first round. Now, I think this is the kicker, and we'll cap off this segment here on this EKN OutLap with this kicker, David. Last year, of course, that record set. There's been a number of Canadians that have come down to be part of the Challenge Americas over the last number of years, right? It's a guys going for tickets, for Rotax tickets, for rock tickets to the finals, the big final events. Only 4 Canadians down here. Obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic and the border closing, everything that's happened has made that super tough. So we're talking about potentially getting up to flirt with the overall outright entry record for the series, and there's only 4 Canadians. So literally, had this not happened, with the momentum that's happening with the Challenge of the Americas, you got to believe they probably would have been 150 or higher, maybe 160, if all the Canadians could have come down.
Well, it's very similar to what we saw at the Cup Karts Grand Nationals in October. None of the Canadians were able to come down from the eastern half of Canada down to compete in this event. So now we're seeing, at least the U.S. numbers are growing in the Rock Cup program on the West Coast. Especially thanks to Challenge of the Americas and the California Rock Championship program, and just the a lot of the teams that are focused on competing at the high level. This is kind of the place to be on the west half of the country. And like you said, a lot of those Canadians love to come down, just not only to compete for tickets and that, but just to kind of get away. Again, that's a part of the program, the winter programs is to go where the sun is and enjoy some racing. And so a lot of Canadians love to do that.
Well, I think that if we look forward, fast forward 1 year to 2022, and expecting that that point, hopefully things will have calmed down. The vaccine's, of course, starting to work its way through certain areas. If we get back in 2022, if the borders are wide open again and we're going racing, this series is going to explode next year. You add another 20 or 30 drivers from Canada, and man, this is going to be big. All right, so there you go. 128 pre-entries coming into the weekend. David had mentioned there's a couple already we're told being added. We'll see how high we get. This was kind of how things happened at Cal Speed last year. The momentum started rolling, and all of a sudden extra guys were getting added, and we were at that 138, 139, 140 mark. let's see what happens when we get to Phoenix here in a couple of days. All right, commercial break number 2, folks. When we come back, time to start talking class by class. We'll talk shifters. We'll talk gear banging, shifter rock, and shifter masters rock after this break. You can buy all the latest and greatest products on the market, but when you're karting to win, it boils down to one thing: you, the driver. Gain the knowledge and abilities by investing in yourself at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, and you'll find those extra tenths of a second you need to put yourself on the podium. The school was established by SuperKarts USA Hall of Fame driver Alan Rudolph, with decades of victories and championships in multiple forms of the sport, including other disciplines of racing. The Alan Rudolph Racing Academy, located at the Speed Sports Racing Park in the metropolitan Houston area, is designed to teach driving skills at all levels. The instructors of the Academy have decades of racing experience and educating drivers of all ages. Classes at the Academy will teach the concepts and skills needed both behind the wheel and off the track. From the beginning kart racing experience and intro to karting courses, to their advanced 1-day and 2-day courses and karting clinics, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can improve the skills of any driver. For more information on the specific programs that the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy can provide for you, head to speedsports.com and click on the Racing Academy page. Be sure to follow the Academy on social media by searching for Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the US, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Esprit chassis, and the new for 2020 in the US, the Red Speed and the EOS, OTK quality is second to none. All 5 brands are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour and the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and the SCUSA Winter Series, and the Pro Kart Challenge, and the United States Pro Kart Series and the WK Manufacturers Cup. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, Red Speed, or EOS, visit www.otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK directly. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network and another episode of the EKN OutLap, our preview podcast looking at this weekend's Challenge of the Americas opener in Phoenix. David, 19 pre-entries for the Shifter Rock category. Hunter Pickett was the champion last year, a couple of race wins. Jake French came out and raced as well and was able to get a couple of victories. Talk about the notable drivers we got coming in here, because it's a pretty stout little lineup, and some drivers are shifting teams as well.
Well, just to begin, those 2 drivers won't be in
exactly.
Phoenix, as Pickett has elected to race the Florida Winter Tour this year with GFC Karting. So he'll be in Phoenix, but he'll be working as essentially a driver coach under the tent, kind of overseeing, working with all the drivers under the GFC tent. French, I'm not sure yet. There was talk of them possibly coming and racing, but when we get to talking about another driver, he may be there helping out this driver as well. So we'll see. Right. But kind of the big notables going into the weekend, Kyle Wick, the 2019 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour champion, making the move over to the GFC stable. So he'll be working with Pickett and all those other drivers under the GFC tent, along with Jacob Gulick, who's making the move over to GFC with him. So 2 new drivers under the GFC tent. Kwan Tandon and Alan Sciuto.
Alan Sciuto, man. We're going deep. This is good.
They kind of moved over to the GFC towards the end of last year, so they'll be all 4 of those drivers, along with more, are going to be competing under the GFC banner. So we know we'll see some GFCs up front like we did in 2020 for sure.
Yeah, they were pretty good at Tucson, weren't they?
Yeah, one of them was Coy Bailey, who was with GFC. He's making the move over to J3 competition. with the Comp Kart brand. So he's going to make the move over to that, a Phoenix regular. So obviously knows the racetrack very well. And so we'll see if he's able to convert that to possible podium or victories this weekend. And then CRG, always quick in the shifter rank categories. Ron White Racing. Ron's not racing this weekend, but has a couple of bullets in the gun with Enzo Prevost and Ryan Martin racing under his tent this weekend.
Interesting, David. You got a couple of shots here of a back to the roots kind of an idea. A couple of interesting additions to the program for Rock Shifter this coming weekend. Jack Crawford, who of course we've seen over the last number of years as one of the top junior drivers, came close to winning the X30 Senior final at the Super Nationals a couple years ago. Two-time Challenge of the Americas champion, and actually, I believe, runner-up last year in the ADAC German Formula 4 Championship. He's going to move to FIA F3 this year. So there's a kid that's on the fast track, a Red Bull supported driver on the fast track to potentially an F1 seat if he continues to find pace. But man, good to see him coming back, doing some shifter racing. I know he was down at the Florida Winter Tour as well, and Jack Crawford going to run this weekend.
Yeah, qualified 5th at the Florida Winter Tour. Ended up having to start in the back for the main event. Gained 18 positions in the main event to finish 13th. So certainly has a race under his belt. Has the pace to be quick. So he'll be one of those to kind of break up the monotony of the GFCs up front that we're kind of expecting to see. But another one that should kind of be there to kind of mix things up. A fellow Canadian for you.
Yeah. Remo Rossetti for Italian Motors is going to be there. And we'll talk a little more about Italian Motors when we get to the Shifter Masters Rock class as well. But, Remo's a kid that obviously, I say kid, he's not a kid anymore. Right. Their whole Catalyst driver development group as well. And a guy that's moved on to sports cars, but still spends a lot of time with the Valientes up in Sumas, Washington at their facility, does a lot of driving on the Ital karts, and has he and Michael, along with Stefan Rudzinski and Scott Hargrove, have their Catalyst driver development program as well. So good to see the Italian Motors name back down here at the program. And I think Rossetti will be a guy that'll be up front as well.
Yeah, he's been among the contenders at Rock to Rio the past couple of years. So so we'll for sure see his name there.
Let's move over to the Shifter Masters Rock category. 13 pre-entries, as we'd said it in the by the numbers. Dave, we didn't have the champ coming back. Hunter Pickett will be there, as you said, in Shifter Rock, but Kevin Woods set to come back and defend his championship. Really, the only returning race winner from last year as well.
Yeah, that's kind of I think the reason why we're seeing a little bit of a drop in the numbers. You don't have Jimmy McNeil coming back, Neil Joseph, Ryan Yop, all three drivers won last year. They all ran with other drivers, so you kind of factor that in. That's kind of where the numbers kind of went away with them not competing at the opening round this weekend. But you could see all those drivers back for Cal Speed when we get the Cal Speed bump. So we'll see if that happens in February. But as of right now, Kevin Woods is going to be the driver to beat coming in as the defending champion and a race winner in last year's opener.
Let's throw some other names out there. P5 last year, Nick Firestone has, he knows the Arizona racetracks, so he could be a factor for sure. Eric Jackson, 2018 Masters Rock champion, always in the fight. Travis Irving, good to see him back banging gears as well. Former, I think he won the World SCUSA World Finals back in like 2000 or something like that. He's been shifting gears for many years. Mike Gouache is coming to play as well. Garrett McKelvey making his Masters debut, right?
Yeah, this is a driver we've seen kind of in the S2 range over the last few years, and so it would be good to see him, what he can do, making the jump to the Masters rink.
Now, back to the roots again. Talk about some guys coming back, going racing. Here's two. Let's go alongside Remo Rossetti and Italian Motors, and Michael Valiente is coming to run. That seriously caught me off guard. I had no idea that he was planning on coming down, but really cool to see Valiente coming back out.
Well, just the fact that he's in the Masters category is shocking because, a guy like Giebler and Ron White, guys he raced back in the late 90s and early 2000s. None of them have made that jump to the Masters rank, right? Maybe Giebler a little bit in the single speed stuff, but I think if Giebler was racing a shifter, he would not be in the Masters category. But but I don't think, Valiante's probably got laps under his belt, but not racing laps. So I think that's kind of the difference when you're trying to go up against some of the young studs in the country and in North America. So yeah, it'll be shocking. It'll be exciting to kind of see what he does when we get to the track on Friday.
Well, and again, let's just say he's here to have a good time too, right? Wants to get back out, have some fun, do some racing, right?
And that's the mantra of the Challenge of the Americas. We continue to talk about the atmosphere in the paddock is a fun one, and so why not have fun while racing? So we did see him at Cal Speed last year, helping some drivers out here and there, but didn't put on the helmet. So now he's got the urge to go and compete for podium or victory. Another
driver added to the Master Shift the Rock, a name we haven't seen in a couple of years. Cliff Queala is coming out. Pure Karting was a shop that he ran for many years. But yeah, Cliff's going to come out and do some racing as well. Another former, I'm pretty sure, was he a race winner? I think he might have been. No, he might have drove off, tried to win at Phoenix in the Pro Moto Tour back in the day when the tires were melting down. But here's a guy that was a top S2 driver in the day. Excellent to see. And actually, a Super Pro driver in the SCUSA program, not just S2. He went to Super Pro, and I think he'll be pretty fast to watch here as well.
Yeah, home track advantage certainly going to help him.
Very true.
A lot of knowledge with the Tony OTK and the Tony Kart brand going decades back. As you said, back to the 90s, and it'll be good to see him. So if he's not cooking, he's normally racing, right?
That's right. Yeah, every once in a while we go back and forth, Cliff, at least not in recent years, but other years, about what restaurants to hit, right, when we're going to go to places. But hey, remember the chassis that Cliff was on? You weren't working for us yet, but the chassis he was on at that point when he almost grabbed that big Super Pro win at Phoenix was the KGB.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I know the KGB. Come on now. Alan Rudolph used to race it.
That's it. Scott Speed, Alex Speed.
Yeah. It was, I believe it was imported in Phoenix, correct?
Yeah, it was the Ruth family. It was Dan Ruth. That was his program. Yeah, the KGB was a good program. All right, folks, another break in the action. When we come back, we'll look at senior rock and junior rock. Not a lot of entries in these categories. It'll be a quicker segment, but we'll do that when we get back after this break. Made in the USA. That's exactly what you get from Precision Karting Technologies. Based in Detroit, Michigan, PKT brings over 35 years of manufacturing experience to the sport of karting. Their passion for the sport began focusing around the Kid Kart platform and has expanded every year with hundreds of products designed to put you on the podium. Precision Karting Technologies is known around North America for their successful line of axles, available in all age groups. PKT manufactures a number of engine products for Comer, IAME, Rock, Rotax, and the popular Briggs & Stratton 206. A wide variety of chassis components for the many brands in the sport are available through PKT, including hubs, pedal risers, skid plates, and other hardware for your kart. Axle straightening, chassis adjustments, engine service, and specific CNC machining projects are available through their Motor City headquarters. To learn more about the many products and services available from Precision Karting Technologies, head to pktaxles.com. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Team GFC is focused on 2020, and we're set to make our debut at the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour in the East and return for more victories at the Challenge of the Americas in the West. We have arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes, utilizing our all-new GFC RR5 Cadet chassis, which made its debut at the SCUSA Super Nationals. Join Gary Carlton and his passionate team in either of these popular winter programs to kick off the 2020 season on a winning note. Team GFC is extremely excited about launching its new Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with over 25 years racing at the highest levels of the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC in 2020. GFC, live your passion. And we're back. Another episode of the EKN OutLap, our preview of the Challenge of the Americas opening weekend in Phoenix, coming just a couple of days. Thank you so much for tuning in here to the EKN Radio Network, or potentially downloading the podcast to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, wherever you're downloading the podcast listening. We appreciate it. Rob Howden and David Cole to give you the preview. David, just five pre-entries, let's put it that way, in the senior rock class. Jake Drew, last year's champion. Oliver Calvo got a couple of wins last year. Drew, of course, with the win. Ariel Jimenez got that awesome victory at Cal Speed. What are your thoughts? Is Drew coming back? I'm going to have to look at I don't think Drew's back, is he?
No, that's why we don't talk about him in the notables. We have
a little look there.
Again, just 5 drivers competing. Calvo is not able to make it. I'll talk. I had it mentioned in the senior 100cc, but he's in quarantine right now, so is not allowed to leave the house due to COVID-19 issues. So under quarantine right now, so he'll have to miss this weekend. And he said he's hoping to see us at Cal Speed in February.
That's tough.
So again, only 5 drivers in this field. We have Liam Lett finished P3 last year behind Drew and Calvo. So he'll be among the top returning drivers, along with Jensen Altsman, the 2-time Rock the Rio winner in the 100cc category. Excuse me. Macy Williams making the move up to the senior ranks after finishing 5th in the junior championship last year. So she'll be one to watch. And then another driver that we have is Gabe Tesh, another senior rookie as well, too. So young drivers, some returning drivers, and then one back to root driver as well with Andrew Zimmer.
That's it. Good to see Andrew coming back. I think I saw on social media that he went to a local indoor kart track and set a track record as he was dialing himself in to get back down here. That's good. That's good stuff. Former SCUSA champ back in 2013, so he should be strong. 6 drivers in total in the junior rock category. Enzo Delaney was the champion last year. 4 different winners, David, last year in the junior rock category. And Enzo Delaney, Frankie Mossman, 3 different winners, Mossman, and then Max Opolsky, who continued his kind of rise to the forefront in the junior categories, now moving up to senior. Diego Larocque, definitely one of the notables that we'll be watching here this weekend, 2015 Challenge of the Americas champion. I think Diego knows that racetrack as well. I don't know. He may have more laps on that racetrack than a lot of people right now.
He's probably got more laps than probably even Cliff does.
He might, yeah.
So, Diego is going to be one to watch. Jesus Vasquez Jr., another driver. He raced out at Florida Winter Tour already, so he's got some racing under his belt.
And David, pole position, too. Jesus was pole on day 2, I believe, in the category. So he's got some momentum and some speed as well, which is solid.
Yep, and then some other returning drivers. We're expected to see Frankie Mossman enter at track. He was slated to go compete at the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in Portugal. Unfortunately, that event on last week was canceled due to the guidelines set out by the Portuguese government. So he raced at the Florida Winter Tour, I believe, this past weekend, doing some car racing. I think it was yesterday and today, and then is possibly going to be entering to compete in Phoenix this weekend.
Right on. So there you go. That's your kind of lineup. But what else we got? We got a couple of rookies, David. That's one of the things you always talk about, that, right? We talk about the guys that are moving up, right? From micro to mini to junior. A couple of rookies coming in. Last year's mini champ Tristan Young and G3 Argueros also coming in to run in the junior rock class.
Yeah, so even though we only have 6 drivers, we have a number of different stories that are going to be happening throughout the weekend. It'll be interesting to see kind of who stands out and who steps up to be among the contenders.
Indeed. All right, there, as I said, not a lot to talk about with smaller entries. Bigger entries when we come back after this break. We've got senior 100cc at 29, junior 100cc at 14, and masters 100cc at 7. We'll go all 100cc air-cooled when we get back after this break. Jenson Button, Jos Verstappen, and Roman Grosjean. All former Techno Kart drivers and champions. Get ready, America, for the Techno Kart invasion. Formed in the 1970s, the Italian manufacturer has new representation in the U.S. and they're already winning races and championships. Technokart USA is owned and operated by top national masters drivers Laurent Mardin and Christian Vaumier, and they are focused on building the new Technokart dealer network. The Technokart line hits all the different engine platforms in American karting, beginning with the TR28 Special for 4-cycle racing. The TR30 is Techno's chassis for 100cc and 125cc tag competition, and we also have a TR Cadet and Kid Kart for the drivers coming into the younger age groups of the sport. In 2021, Technokart USA will be attending the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour, United States Pro Kart Series and Route 66 programs, the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals in Las Vegas, and will continue to support our home track, the Badger Kart Club. Race-winning Arrive and Drive programs are available, and kart shops interested in adding a new quality chassis to their lineup should contact us today. Be sure to follow Technokart USA LLC on Facebook and Instagram. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 rungs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatus chassis, 180 horsepower, and a paddle shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 280 horsepower for the Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung on the Road to Indy. Add in increased grip and aero downforce, and the Tatus PM18 becomes an incredible training machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has helped train a third of the grid expected for the 2020 IndyCar Series. At all 3 levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. Former karters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar, like Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, Zach Beach, Jack Harvey, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Charlie Kimball, Renus VK, and 2019 Indy Lights champion Oliver Askew. Racing karting graduates like Kyle Kirkwood and Braden Eves are in the middle of their journeys right now as well. Follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there is only one choice: the Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. Jumping now into another segment of our OutLap podcast, a preview of this coming weekend's Challenge of the Americas. David, biggest category we're going to see this weekend, I think it's going to be some great racing. 29 pre-entries in senior 100cc. You already talked about the fact that Oliver Calvo not able to make the event due to having to be in COVID quarantine. Won all 4 races last year in the senior class. Big bump in numbers, though, in 100cc. And there's a lot of pretty impressive drivers to watch here.
Yeah, and it wasn't all domination by Calvo. He certainly had some competition. Jackson Dunn was one of them. He finished 4th in the championship. Everest Fedler finished 5th last year. He was among the contenders as well, too. So they'll be back. They'll be among the notables that we'll be watching. Liam Lech is going to do double duty, so he's one of the rare double duties that we'll see on the weekend. Alex Saragusa, another driver that is set to compete in this category. He was pretty quick in Cal speed, so we might be able to see him out towards the front. Race Liberante, he'll be a good story to kind of watch. Raced in the shifter category last year, now making the move over to the senior 100cc category aboard his Race Factory chassis. So that'll be interesting to watch. And another story, the Michael Mischoff. I believe it was probably 4 or 5 years ago that Mischoff was actually taken away in an ambulance at this racetrack. With
had the big wreck in the hairpin, right?
Big wreck at in the Daytona corner. Thankfully, was able to come out of it, healthy, and returned back to racing a couple years after that. And so he's back at Challenge of the Americas in one of the more competitive categories again.
Yeah, looking to see the 2 guys that were in the top 5 yesterday last year for Forward Direction Motorsports, Jackson Dunn and Everest Fedler. I think both those drivers will be in the hunt. But, anytime, Dave, when we come to some of these races, you're going to get local guys, right? And we've got some locals from Arizona that are going to be very strong. They know the racetrack, like you said. There is a lot of practice. Wednesday, Thursday unofficial practice, Friday, a lot of track time for people to get dialed back in. And we've been coming to Phoenix for a number of years, so there are drivers that have been there and have experience there. Toby Longnecker, definitely one to watch. Jensen Altzman, as you had mentioned before, two-time Rock the Rio winner. Josh Campbell and Tyler Ruth, all as well, David, in the senior 100cc lineup.
Yeah, 11 in total just from the state of Arizona, making up the 29 driver field. So a lot of local talent that are going to be competing for podium positions. And again, this is probably one of the most competitive classes that we'll have on the weekend.
Agreed, yeah. Let's go to junior 100cc, 14 pre-entries. Alan Berg was able to win all 4 races last year. We didn't have a huge field in this particular category last year, but David, I don't know if we've ever had a lineup like this where all 14 drivers are new to the class for 2021. So no returning drivers whatsoever.
Yeah, that's kind of the, and again, like we talk about in the numbers, getting new drivers to the series, getting them exposed to what the challenge of the Americas is, and the fun atmosphere that we do have there. So this is as we talk, the trend is moving towards the 100cc categories, and all 14 drivers are new to this category. Some are, say, mini drivers moving up into the junior ranks. So we'll have some drivers that we do know, but majority of the drivers, we just don't know who they are.
Yeah, that we haven't seen them on the national level, so it could be very, very interesting to watch. Anthony White, one of the rookies, and then P2 and P3 last year in the mini rock category. Christian Cameron and Alex Rontala will be making their rookie debuts up into the 100cc class. David, wrapping it up with the drivers on the other end of the spectrum in the Masters 100cc, 7 pre-entries. Last year's champion Nick DeGraff, I actually saw him back in January. It was in December. When I was here in December, I stopped by an LAKC race that was happening, and Nick was there. It was going to be his last race. He's got to go back overseas. He was here for work, so we'll see if we see Nick back here for an event in coming years. But that kind of opens things up a little bit. Last year's winners included Tim Meyer, DeGraff, as we said, and then Mike Smith was able to get both victories at Cal Speed. Tim Meyer is definitely going to be one of the drivers to watch this coming weekend.
Yeah, he'll be one of the drivers to watch. Mike Smith, Dana Estes, Brian Phillipson, the field isn't as big, but should be very competitive to see those drivers going at it all weekend long.
Yeah, again, 100cc categories are always a lot of fun. These guys have been around for a long time. Let's, David, now wrap up this particular segment with a look at the Masters Rock category. 14 drivers last year, 12 drivers in Masters Rock this year. And you have a quick look down and think of some of the guys that have always been quick at Phoenix. And Adam Kasich running for Forward Direction Motorsports. Anytime he comes down, he's in the fight. Then you got Billy Cleveland, who is always quick as well. Tim Meyer, definitely a driver to watch for sure. Derek Wang's coming in as well. You know that Derek's going to be a guy that's going to run for a championship. Anytime Derek Wang shows up in a Masters race, he's running for a race win and a championship.
Yeah, Derek won 2 of the races last year to go on to win the championship. Billy Cleveland won the opening round last year, finished second to Wang in the championship chase. So they will probably be among the top contenders. But as you said, Adam Kasich's going to be there. Yeah, David Brigande might be there. Mike Smith doing double duty. So that'll be him and Tim Meyer doing double duty. So we'll see if it beats them up or if it helps them.
Let's be real. Do you think Smith can do double duty? He's going to sleep well every night. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's not even going to need a drink to go to sleep.
He's going to burn himself out for sure. Good to see Mike in there running double duty for sure. But yeah, again, there's a number of the names that we see at a lot of those West Coast national events, or even national events around the country in terms of top drivers in the Masters Rock class. So I think this is going to be some really good racing, especially at the pointy end of the grid. All right, we're going to run into our final break in this particular OutLap edition. When we get back, we'll wrap it all up with our look at mini rock and micro rock. In 2020, PSL Karting will enter its 21st year of serving the North American karting community, and they're proud to be North America's importer and distributor for the legendary Burrell Art brand, having once again won Burrell Art's Distributor of the Year. PSL Karting is your source for all things Burrell Art, providing this top quality product both through their expansive dealer network or through their own PSLkarting.com online store. We have over 100 carts in stock at all times, including the new Charles Leclerc line of karts carrying the name of Ferrari's Formula One pilot. PSL Karting can provide you with a Burrell Art, Ricardo, or Charles Leclerc turnkey package with an IAME, Rotax, Rock, or Briggs power plant, complete and ready to race. Whatever you need is available 24/7 at our online store, including parts and components, consumables like AMSOIL, Motul, and Rotax XPS engine oil, and Vroom lubricants, Micron data acquisition systems and Unipro, and driver safety gear from Bell, Arai, Freem, and Alpine Stars. Trackside, we're also the karting distributor for Bell Racing USA. Our race trailer is always stocked with Bell helmets and components. Arrive and Drive programs, supported by PSL's experienced staff and in-house engine program, are available for all major US and Canadian events. When you're ready to win, call PSL Karting or visit one of our dealers. Motor mounts are critical to producing 100% of the power your engine has to get you on the podium each and every time. Odenthal Racing Products provide the best motor mounts in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, providing products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Our newest product is the Pro Series mount for two-cycle engines, available in 0, 5, and 8-degree angles, providing a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a medium with fins underneath to help dissipate heat off the engine. Our 4-cycle EZ set is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability, depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, ORP wedge clamps get the job done, featuring a number of updates to its design for a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro sizes. Head to OdenthalRacing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, made in the USA. Welcome back to another edition of the EKN OutLap. We're going to wrap up our preview of the categories for the upcoming Challenge of the Americas opener in Phoenix, Arizona this weekend. Looking forward to getting to that racetrack, getting up into the container and start announcing some races. David will have that camera out to start getting the shots for you. Our EKN Trackside live coverage, of course, all weekend long. Always with the top 10s on Twitter and Facebook. That way you can follow along if you're not able to be tuned into the broadcast. David, let's start with the mini rock class to wrap things up here. 17 pre-entries in total. Last year's champ Tristan Young making the move up into the junior category. Christian Cameron was able to get a couple of victories as well, as did Parker DeLong. One of the notables, of course, to watch this particular weekend, though, P4 last year, Alex Chartier.
Yeah, that's the thing. All those winners from last year moved up to the junior ranks, so opens the door for all 17 drivers in this category to kind of take over as the leader in the category. So again, he's the only Chartier is the only returning driver from last year, so that's going to be kind of opening up the door for a lot of these new drivers to kind of be make a name for themselves, including rookies coming up from the micro division. Kyle Drysdale and Cypress Andrus, they finished second and third in the micro rock category last year.
Yeah, I look at a couple names. I scroll through them here. I scroll down to John Antonino, driving with Race Factory. And John's been a kid that we've watched over the last couple of years really get at it. He was pretty impressive at the SCUSA Summer Nationals as well. I got to think that he's going to be a guy that could be in the fight as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, certainly agree. You got a third-generation driver, Rocky Moran. We'll see if he's able to step up the game along with Truly Adams, another karting name in the SoCal region as well too.
Yeah, look at Jacob Longnecker as well. His brother Toby's very quick, so you got to figure there's a bunch of guys that are going to be able to dial things in. Wrapping it up right now, 6 entries. We doubled the entries for Micro Rock. Last year we had 3, this year 6. Nico Sarfati, the champion last year, running with GFC as part of the GFC driver development program. Nico focusing, as David had mentioned, on the Florida Winter Tour. He scored 3 wins last year. Kyle Drysdale, who moves up to Mini Rock, scored 1. So again, another one of these deals, David, Micro Rock. We have all 6 drivers new to this series, and that's just such a good thing for the program.
Yeah, you add in the 20 that are in the junior 100cc category. That's 20 new entries that the program didn't have last year. So, for the drivers that we did not get back, these 20 entries make up for all that. And especially you want it in the micro division because again, it helps to grow that future of the Challenge of the Americas program.
Yeah, a couple drivers with GFC. I believe Julian Sanchez and Jackson Porter. You've got Reese Bowman with Forward Direction Motorsports, Braylon Underwood with Race Factory. But I'll tell you, again, coming off a pretty good run at the SCUSA race at Homestead, I think Ashton Woon could be a driver to watch in this class too.
Yeah, home track too as well. Yeah. So he'll have that knowledge going into the weekend. So he could be the driver to beat. We'll see. We'll have to see come Friday.
That's it. We don't know, right, until we get there on Friday to see who stepped things up. David, that's it, man. Are you ready to go or what?
Ready to see some sunshine and some racing.
That's exactly it. Folks, as you know, you can listen live all weekend long. www.ekartingnews.com/live. That's the link. You can also listen on the Mixler.com page if you want to do that. That way, if you download that app, you can listen actually on your phone as well. You can listen right on the EKN page on your mobile device as well. And as I said before, follow along on social media. We'll use the hashtags at EKN at COTA, at PKRA, and at Let's Rock.
No.
If you use
hashtag EKN at COTA.
What I said?
Hashtag. You said at.
Oh, hashtag. I said the hashtags. So hashtag EKN at COTA.
There you go.
Hashtag PKRA. Hashtag Let's Rock. I appreciate the clarification.
Hashtag Rob's getting old.
Hashtags Rob's been banging out podcasts.
Hey now.
Busy. But yeah, it's good to get back at it. Dave, I'm sure you're, I was going to go on my phone to try to figure out how cold it is right now in Grand Rapids. I didn't even look at the weather. Let's talk about weather. Did we even look at that?
I have.
What's your weather? Hey, first of all, what's your weather like?
It's 27 degrees here today. Tomorrow is only supposed to be high of 24. When I looked at the weather yesterday for Glendale, it looked to be like a chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday. So temperatures in the 60s, maybe high 50s for the weekend.
Ooh, that makes things interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. You're right. Low 60s, high 60s, 50% chance of rain on Saturday, 40% chance of rain on Sunday. That would make things very interesting. That's a wrinkle we didn't talk about at the start of this, did we?
No, we didn't talk about it, and we don't want to talk about it because it's not going to do it, right?
Well, listen, hold on.
It doesn't rain in the desert.
Yeah, but hold on. It rains wherever you go. Because I went to the SCUSA race at Homestead. Gorgeous. 68 degrees sunny all weekend. That's
the first time it's happened that it hasn't rained at the Winter Series in probably since it began.
I bring you to a race? What happens?
No. Don't blame it on me. Who didn't go with you at the Winter Series aside from me? Maybe that's the reason you got rain.
You think oh, no, I don't know about that. That's a possibility, too, though. It's a possibility. That's funny. All right, folks, we are done. Thank you for tuning in for this edition of the EKN OutLap, our 15th episode of our preview podcast, which we started about a year and a half ago. I think we started at the Supernats a couple years ago. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. Of course, we'll book in this all as we always do with the debrief. We're scheduled to record the debrief, which is our race report podcast on Tuesday. But in between there, lots of great action for you. We're going racing challenge style. Again, at Phoenix, Arizona. Looking forward to it, folks. Thank you so much for joining me here on the EKN Radio Network. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.